Hoje é foda, né?
Hey YouTube, what's going on? Pt.2 Customs back with part 2 of our garage floor project. In this video, we will be laying down our epoxy primer, mixing our epoxy, and applying it to the garage floor. If you have not checked out our part 1 video, I'll link that in the description box below. You don't want to miss it. That's where we go over garage floor preparation and addressing the cracks. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, what's going on, guys? So now is the fun part that we're getting into, where we're going to be putting our primer down, our base coat primer. We did the Sika self-leveling concrete mix, so we basically have a nice, fresh, new surface to go along. We only did the actual floor of the garage. We didn't do up there, mostly because I don't know what that stuff is. So I'm not actually gonna epoxy up there. I will put a base coat and maybe put like a clear protector over it, but whatever I end up placing up there is going to stay up there. We're not taking it back down after that, so I think that should be fine. If you're watching this video to learn how to do like a metallic epoxy thing, this is not the video for you to watch. I'm just documenting what I'm doing because I've never done this before. It seemed like it would be a really cool project to do, so that's what we're doing. There's a lot of other videos on YouTube. I watched like a shit ton of videos before I even tried to do this project. So there are other videos on YouTube that you can watch to see how this is done. This is more so showing you guys, if you have no idea what you're doing, you just watched a couple YouTube videos, you want to do it and kind of see like, well, how hard could it actually be? This would be a video to compare how hard it would be for you. Yeah, I'm reading the instructions. I watched a couple videos. We're gonna go ahead and get our 3-gallon kit mixed together. Our primer is a light gray primer that we're gonna be using. We did put some tape on our 18-inch roller. We're using a 3/8 snap 18-inch roller, a 3/8 snap 9-inch roller, and we got a couple of 3-inch paint brushes just to get some fine details like in the corners there, especially like around the footer of the garage door and everything like that. So that's the goal. What we did here is we put some tape on our rollers, and basically what this is going to do is make sure that our rollers don't shed while we're putting our epoxy down. You don't want to get any of the loose fibers. You don't want to get any of the loose fibers going into your epoxy, like all that stuff there. You don't want to get that in there. So that's what the tape is for. I'll go ahead and set this to the side for now. This one, we're going to start with our 9-inch roller, and then we'll do our big 18-inch roller after. This is a low VOC epoxy too, so really we probably don't need the mask. I have it on because I'm just so used to wearing it, but I'm probably going to take it off here in a minute to just kind of keep the goggles on so I don't get any splashback in my face for any reason. Go ahead and take this off, shed this. Another thing, you probably don't want to do it so close to your epoxy either, in case you get any loose lint pieces. But yeah, now we're ready to mix our part B.
Okay, here we're adding our part B, and what we did first for all of our epoxy is we added our pigments or our color base to our part A mixture first, mix that up for a little while, maybe like a minute and a half, and then let that sit for a little so that the color properly disperses fully through the part A. And then right before applying it, we add our part B and pour it into a different container, making sure that we do get as close to a 100% mixture as we can.
All right, so we got our primer coat down. We'll let it dry and come back in the morning. All right, so now we did our equations here so we can know how much pigment we need per mix of epoxy. These do have these little measurement things on the side, so you know what your ratios are. We're using a 2-to-1 mix ratio, but our concern is that after we start mixing the epoxy with the pigment, it may be a little too dark to see in there. So we're just gonna do everything by weight. That way our math is exact. So we wrote out a formula here and measured everything out, labeled them, which makes it a little bit easier. But you can see, look at how pretty these colors are. And then this is a mixed one, so we're really curious to see what that comes out looking like. And then we drew our garage floor down here, so we're gonna do our ledge with a mix of them for a certain type of effect that we're going for. And then our floor, we're gonna have 3 different highlights after we put our main one down, which is our dark and our light purple, in those 2 in our 6 gallons. And then our last 3-gallon kit, we're going to mix with these here and just separate it. And then we have some special glow-in-the-dark pigment that we're also going to use, and we're also going to be using some isopropyl alcohol, but I'll get that in a different part of the video to show you guys.
The pigment that we used in this project is Eye Candy. We were told about them through Spartan Epoxies, and we also found them on Amazon as well. The other company that we used is Mael. I will link both of those in the description box below on this video. Both pigments were great, the companies were great, and the dispersing effects was amazing with this epoxy.
Okay, so we got our math figured out. It's actually not 21 ounces. They're supposed to be 14 ounces. But all in all, we got each of our colors mixed into the actual epoxy. We got our glow-in-the-dark in this one, and we poured out the exact amount of resin or hardener that we're going to need for each container. And we have them matched up to where there's no fucking that up. It should be fine, right? The reason we did that is because we split this kit up, which you're technically not supposed to split up, but I mean, if you know the math for the stuff, you can just figure out the math, split the containers up based on that. We used the scale to measure everything, that dope boy scale. But we used the scale to measure everything, and that way we could get as precise as we possibly could. I think we're like plus or minus 1 ounce, so that works for both of us. We gotta let the pigment sit inside the epoxy for at least 2 to 3 hours before we add our hardener and go to mix it. So everything's gonna sit. We're gonna take a break from this for a little bit, maybe go feed the horses, I don't know, something. And I said that I was going to mention isopropyl alcohol. So you use 91% isopropyl alcohol, and you can put a pigment inside of it. So we put our Aztec purple from Eye Candy. I think they're also located here in Florida. But we put our Aztec purple in there and a little bit of their Shojin blue. It's a glow-in-the-dark pigment. We put some of that inside of our isopropyl alcohol, shook it up really good, allowed that to disperse, and wow, look at how pretty that looks. What that's gonna do, what did I say that right? So what this is going to do is allow us to do a dispersing effect on the epoxy. So we'll lay out the epoxy, do our colors and everything, and then after we're gonna go back over with this and just kind of squirt the alcohol around, and as those droplets land on the epoxy, it'll cause it to disperse, and it'll do this really nice effect.
Okay, the epoxy that we decided to go with in this project is Spartan Epoxies. We were kind of torn between a couple different brands, but when I typed in metallic epoxy, they were one of the first people to come up. And they do have some installation videos on YouTube where you can see what their epoxy and what their pigments do, and I was very impressed by that. So I found a couple of their items on Amazon. They do have an Amazon store. They had a starter kit with the tools and everything like that, and then I went to their actual home website, and they have a huge selection of so many different things. I mean, depending on what type of epoxy you want, what your end goals are for your projects, if you're doing a huge square footage, if you're doing something small, like tons of stuff. I did have some confusion between what I wanted from their Amazon store and what I wanted from their home website. So it took one phone call and I spoke with a live person immediately. And this is what really sold me with them, is their customer service. I got to speak with a live person. They put me through to their experts on installation, and I described what my budget was, what my square footage was, and what my overall end result needed to be. And these guys built me a custom cart, walked me through everything, all the tools that I would need. They have a lot of pigments, but they didn't have the colors that I specifically wanted. So they pointed me to people who did, which was eye candy. And I think they were the ones that told me that they were in Florida and told me that their pigments work great with their epoxy. So all in all, it was an amazing experience. And this video is not sponsored by them or anything. I'm not getting anything out of it, but I had to give credit where credit is due. Like Spartan Epoxies definitely helped out a lot and came through for us on this. On top of that, even after the installation, before I got ready to do, or no, it was while I did the protective coat, I had a couple questions because I had a failure with the protective coat, and they walked me through different ways that I could fix that, and also overall care for the floor system as time went on, just making sure that it stayed clean, how to deal with scratches and stuff like that. Like, these guys were amazing. So much so, like, they were like, hey, when you get done with the project, text us a couple of pictures or videos on how it came out. And it really felt like they were a huge hand in helping in the project. So I gotta give credit due on that. So what you can see here, what we're doing is we're rolling our floor, we're back rolling it one way, and then we're gonna I thought it might have been good to back roll it both directions to make sure that we get as even as a coat as we could get on this floor, given you can see it slightly in this time-lapse video where the epoxy is kind of sliding down, that downgrade. And this is self-leveling epoxy, so what you're doing when you back roll it, you can see those intersecting lines, they kind of fade out and even out as the epoxy is starting to settle and dry. And that's the purpose of back rolling it. So we back rolled it there. And I know you heard me say multiple times in this video that I was not going to do anything to the top ledge of the garage floor. And yeah, I ended up changing my mind at the last minute. And this is that color that I was saying we were really interested in how the color was going to come out. And it actually came out really pretty. We did this part after doing the main part of the floor because I wanted to also use this color as our highlights. So I dipped in the color and would go around with the 9-inch roller and just add little accents in the main portion that was purple. So we added some parts from what we dropped there, and some of the extra that we had in a cup, we went and just spilled a few. And you can see right there that a couple of those globs, that's that Aztec blue that we were showing you guys earlier. That was a really pretty color too. So you just kind of drop a couple spots around the garage floor that you go back through and you kind of swirl it in a little bit, and then you're gonna roll it again after, so that when it starts to level out, the color blends evenly with the rest of your epoxy. And there's my girlfriend standing in the way. All right, there we just try to add like a little bit more of a design, and that was our bright copper, and I think our bright copper and one of the bronzes that we had mixed together. So we're going through, making sure that that also gets layered in there properly as well. I think something happened to my 18-inch roller. I think part of the end was damaged or broken or something, and it started to dig into the epoxy, so I just said screw it and worked a little bit faster and did everything with the 9-inch roller to finish off the job. All right, here I thought that it would be really cool to do one of those spiraling effects. I see it all the time with painters where you take a canvas and you put it on the ground and you hang a bucket from the ceiling or a contraption and you fill it up with paint and have it go around. So we tried doing that and filled it with, I think, 3 different colors, and it gave us this really cool design on the floor. And then after that, we sprayed our isopropyl alcohol. And just a forewarning, if you do it with pigment, it might possibly clog. But after we did that, we went with a weed sprayer and sprayed acetone over the entire floor, which helps get rid of the air bubbles. So this is what the finished product looked like before we put our protective coating on it, which was really nice. And this is what it looks like after we put our protective coating on it, which was an aluminum oxide polyurethane top coat. Also from Spartan Epoxy, which I will put their link in the description box below.
Thanks for tuning in on this project with me. It was actually kind of fun and very interesting. And again, like I said in part 1, I didn't really have any idea what I was doing at first. The reason I shot this video was because I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to do for someone who doesn't have any experience doing something like this. So you don't have to feel intimidated, don't feel afraid. If you're watching videos on YouTube and it's something that you do want to tackle by yourself or maybe with a couple of your friends, just know that from a novice standard, you can definitely do it, and it's a really cool project. I will be doing an update video probably a little while from now because it's been almost a year since I've had the floor done. I know I'm dropping this video super late, but I'm gonna do an update video on how the floor has been in Florida for the past year. Whether there's any chips, any cracks, if the epoxy's failed. We'll do a little update on that. It might be a short, it might be a full video, that I'm not sure yet. But hit that notification bell if you do want to see that. That way you don't miss it. All right, stay tuned, guys. We got more projects coming soon, more welding action, more car stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next videos.